When I opened my eyes, the first thing I noticed wasn't the light. It was the silence. Not peaceful, not calm, controlled, like something had been muted. The second thing I noticed was the way everyone looked at me. Careful, measured, too careful. "You're okay now," the doctor said softly. That word, now, it implied something had changed. Something important. Something they weren't telling me. I tried to speak. My throat burned. Dry. Unfamiliar. "What happened?" "Simple question." No simple answer. "You were in an accident," he said. Of course. There's always an accident. It's the easiest story. The cleanest lie. Have you ever felt like everyone around you knew something about you that you didn't? If yes, comment number 1 below. I read every single one. I turned my head slightly. Pain shot through my skull. Sharp, immediate, real, good. Pain means something is true, but everything else felt wrong. My sister stood near the window, hands clasped, eyes red, but not from crying, from tension. "You scared us," she said. Soft, careful, rehearsed. That was the first crack, because real fear doesn't sound like that. "Where's Mom?" I asked. Silence. Too long. "She's not here," my sister said. Vague, avoidant, wrong. That was the second crack. The doctor stepped in. "We need to let her rest." Control. Again. Everything was being controlled. What I saw, what I heard, what I asked, and most importantly, what I remembered. That night, I didn't sleep. Not really. I listened. Machines, footsteps, voices outside the door, patterns, because patterns reveal truth. At 2:13 a.m., a nurse entered, quiet, efficient, professional, but she didn't check my vitals first. She checked the camera. That was the third crack, because hospitals monitor patients. They don't hide from them. I closed my eyes, pretended to sleep, because awareness is useless if it's visible. She moved closer, paused, then whispered, "She's awake." Not to me, to someone else. Outside, I felt something cold settle in my chest. Because now I knew this wasn't recovery. This was containment. The next morning, they ran tests. More than necessary, more than explained. Just routine, they said. Nothing about this was routine. By day 3, I started noticing gaps, not just in memory. In reality, people avoiding direct answers. Conversations stopping when I entered. Documents being removed too quickly. And then, the fourth layer revealed itself. I saw my name on a chart, not as a patient, as a case. Subject shows stable cognitive function. It read, subject, not patient. That word again, cold, clinical, dehumanizing. I didn't react. I didn't question. I waited, because timing matters. On day 5, I asked to go to the bathroom alone. They hesitated. That was all I needed, because hesitation confirms control. Inside, I locked the door, looked at myself in the mirror, and froze, because the face looking back at me was mine, but not entirely. There were differences, subtle, precise, surgical. That was the 5th layer, because this wasn't just about memory. This was about identity. I touched my face, slowly, carefully, as if it might reveal something, and it did. A faint scar, hidden, intentional. I stepped back, breathing shallow, because now everything aligned. The accident, the silence, the control, the monitoring. I wasn't being treated. I was being managed. The question was, why? That night, I made my move. No hesitation. No second guessing. I pulled the IV out. Pain. Sharp. Real. Grounding. I walked out of the room. Barefoot. Quiet. Invisible. Because no one expects movement from someone they think is broken. I followed the hallway. Left. Right. Downstairs. Until I found it. A restricted door. unlocked. That was deliberate. Too easy. But I went in anyway. Inside was the truth. Files, screens, data, all about me. Every movement, every behavior, every reaction, recorded, analyzed, predicted. And at the center of it all, a single line. Primary objective. Behavioral correction. Correction, that word echoed. Because correction implies error, which means I was the error. That was the sixth layer. The final one, the one that changes everything. I wasn't the victim. I was the problem. Footsteps behind me. Slow, calm, expected. You weren't supposed to get this far so soon, a voice said. I turned, and my entire world collapsed. Because the person standing there was me. Same face, same voice, same everything, except calmer, more stable, more complete. What is this? I whispered. She smiled. Soft, almost kind. You, she said. No explanation, no confusion, just truth. I'm the version that works, she continued. And you, Kay, a pause, heavy, final, are the version that didn't do. My mind raced. Fragments, memories, pieces that didn't fit. Now they did. You replaced me, I said. Not a question, a realization. She nodded. Not replaced. Refined. Worse. Much worse. Why am I still alive? I asked. Because that mattered. More than anything, she stepped closer. Close enough to feel real. To see if you could change. Silence. Crushing. And if I can't? I asked, even though I already knew. Her smile didn't change. That's what this place is for. Final, absolute, no escape. I looked around, at the files, at the data, at the version of me standing in front of me. Perfect, controlled, accepted, and I understood something terrifying. This wasn't about fixing me. This was about replacing anything that didn't fit. And as the alarms started ringing, as people rushed in, as everything closed in around me, I realized one simple truth. I didn't wake up from a coma. I woke up into a system that had already decided who I was allowed to be.